Hey, did you hear about this, dude? Hey, man, you're looking at me weird, dude. Freaking me out a little bit. Could you blink? Hey, man, blink. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so right down here, where you see this man called Shanda Lear. Well, she's telling us this administration is worried about separating illegal invader families, but they are currently taking kids away from the Helene victims because they are homeless now. No, that's so terrible. Did you hear about this?
I did not hear about that. That is terrible. That is so terrible. Oh.
Yeah, see, check it out. Under PolitiFact and WRAL News, and that's out of Raleigh, North Carolina. That's the state capital of the state in which that man Shanda Lear said they's taking the kids away from homeless people. I mean, you gotta let homeless people have their kids, for God's sakes. Now they can't have dogs.
No, that would be terrible. That'd be real terrible. But, they better have their kids, though.
Yeah, well, see here it says, a social media user, claims that Hurricane Helene's victims stand to lose their shelter and their children after the storm.
They children?
Yeah, man, they're children.
Children?
They're children.
Well, that's terrible.
Helene hit western North Carolina on Sept 27, causing record flooding in the state's mountainous areas. That's west of here. Did you know that?
No.
Well, you do now. The storm killed at least 100 people in North Carolina and displaced hundreds more.
That's terrible.
Yeah, but this guy here, Shanda Lear, is saying that they are currently taking kids away from the Helene victims because they are homeless now. Yeah, I know. I get you. That's terrible. So in a November 12th X post, that's Twitter.
Twitter? What's that?
Don't worry about it. It's terrible. An account called The Disrespected Trucker posted a TikTok video by a man who calls himself Appalachian Prepper. Probably just a regular dude who likes to prepare for the end of the world. Who wouldn't? I mean, that's what most of us spend our days doing. Just getting ready for the end of the world. That way you ain't got to bother with living in the moment. In the video, the man says authorities plan to take custody over children whose parents had not found a place to live. Quote, Red Cross is set to close shelters across North Carolina on November 15th, and that was a few weeks back. Families staying in these shelters are being told, if you don't have a safe place to take your children, you won't be leaving with them. Authorities will keep them, a man says in the video. We saw similar claims on other social media platforms. Now I wonder if it's similar to this one here by that guy right there, Shanda Lear. Because, you just get up in a chat, and especially if you're in a chat where maybe the host doesn't really follow news and stuff and is only into politics as far as he can dip his big toe, maybe he would just believe that and be like, oh, that's fucking terrible, or whatever you call it.
Terrible.
Yeah, that. And so it says here, PolitiFact, North Carolina, contacted the man in the TikTok video using the email included in the video. He said his goal was to help families that need shelter. He did not provide evidence proving that officials, either within the Red Cross or within the government, were threatening to keep children whose parents didn't have a place to stay when a shelter closed. His claim, government entities and their partners are often the target of misinformation. Shoot, I don't think I read that right. Anyway, it almost seems like the word misinformation is misinformation. It's almost like when you put the word information in the word, it kind of lends credibility to the word when it's trying to tell you it's not information. I mean, that's basically what misinformation means. Misleading, yeah, but it's not even information. It's not. It's a story told by somebody who was bored and went on TikTok. And then that guy, Shanda Lear, was like, gots to be the truth because it fits with my narrative of this current administration. Government entities and their partners are often the target of misinformation. Following natural disasters such as Helene and PolitiFact, North Carolina has fact-checked multiple misleading claims since the storm hit. Among them, the false claims that federal agencies tried to seize land and resources in western North Carolina. Now, I done heard the one where they said that they was stirring the hurricane around, like they was controlling it like a video game. I think they'd heard that. That is crazy, isn't it?
That's terrible.
Are you broke? Something wrong with you, man? It's crazy that you think that never mind. Likewise, this video features claims that are inaccurate. Oh, shoot, burger. So it says here on the WARL-TV website that the PolitiFact North Carolina checked into it and says, first, the American Red Cross is not planning to close its Western North Carolina shelters on November 15th because the humanitarian nonprofit organization has already closed all of its shelters in that region, a Red Cross spokesperson said. As of November 12th, the Red Cross was no longer managing any shelters in Western North Carolina. Stephanie Fox, a spokesperson for the group, told PolitiFact in an email. Well, dang.
That's crazy.
And on November 9th and 10th, the Red Cross transferred management of its latest remaining shelters to Western North Carolina Rescue Ministries. That shelter at the Gold's Gym in Asheville will remain open at least through December 31st. Closing shelters is also a sign that Helene victims have successfully found shelter. Well, that's great.
That is great. I love it. Thank you, God, that Jesus be Lord.
Anyway, less shelters being open means residents have been able to secure, whether on their own or through support or through the support of other partners, through our support or other partners, viable housing solutions. Those who still face barriers to securing housing solutions remain at the facility being managed by Western North Carolina Rescue Ministries while they, the Red Cross, and other partners continue to work with them. Well, that's good. And for that fella, Shanda Lear, the Red Cross doesn't take custody of children, Fox says. We do not serve in any role that involves separating children from their families. Well, that's a real nice, juicy, kind of chocolatey feeling that I get over my whole body, and it makes me warm. It kind of feels like I injected myself with hot chocolate, and it makes me warm all over to know that the American Red Cross doesn't get involved in separating families from their children, like parents and children. They don't do that. They leave that up to the Trump administration. Tickety dogs stealing it. There's also no state-driven effort to assume custody of any Helene victims' children, said Hannah Jones, a North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services spokesman. That's like 3 different entities they've contacted here at PolitiFact to make sure they dotting their T's and crossing their I's. The accusation that social service departments are threatening to remove children from their parents is false. Legal Aid, a nonprofit law firm providing free legal services to victims of Helene in Western North Carolina, hadn't received any concerns about those victims losing custody of their children, said Jonathan Perry, Legal Aid's Western Regional Manager. Well, that's like 3 or 4 different places that the PolitiFact people went to check and make sure this wasn't happening. And I'll be golly dang darn it, it may be, just maybe, fake news, Shanda Lear. So, the administration being worried about separating illegal invader families might still be at the top of the list of families getting separated because it ain't happening here in old North Carolina. I was in Asheville area Red Cross facilities for 7 days, spoke with hundreds of people and many Red Cross officials, Perry told PolitiFact. Not once did this question arise in those shelters, nor did the other mountain shelters we visited. I have not heard one report of this on the ground. Them's in quotes. State law allows North Carolinians to file a Child Protective Services report if they believe a child's lack of shelter could lead to maltreatment, Jones said. However, legal aid experts said removing children from the parents typically requires an investigation and approval from the courts, unless you're the Trump administration. So, in summary, it looks like this thing right here that Shanda Lear said is bum 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 boom. Big old falsehood. And that's all right, because you can just pretend whatever it is you want to, and it makes your whole day. And I understand that. You're a lonely old lady out there in the middle of nowhere's Washington, Oregon, Carolina. I don't know. Anyway, you're out there's all the way over there by yourself and nobody around to assume responsibility for watching anything that would be considered actual facts or news or looking up shit. And I get it, man. It'd be funner just to be on YouTube and spreading falsehoods and misinformation. And we all learn that misinformation really means no information. That's true. I know. Shanda Lear's a stupid ass, but that's okay. You still got time, Shanda. There's at least, I don't know, what are you, 60? You still got, another 15 to 20 years? Figure it all out. Maybe you could grow up one day and be a school teacher.